Hello everyone, I'm Jim Longworth and welcome to another edition of Triad today, coming to you from the lovely Senior Botanical Garden in Kernersville. We'll tell you more about them later on. And later on is when the roundtable shows up. We'll get into all sorts of controversial topics, so stay tuned for that. Some great guests and important information coming your way throughout the half hour. Where we want to start is talking about ways to maybe prevent certain types of things from happening during the summer. And we'll be specific in just a minute. But first, I want to introduce you to a first-time visitor to the show. Dr. Matthew Sechler is a hospitalist with Northern Regional Hospital. Good to see you.
Yeah, it's good to be here.
Said you've been here 3 years at Northern.
Sure enough.
And we're glad to have you. Let me just, before we get started, I'm interested in your background and, who or what maybe influenced you to want to go into medicine.
Yeah, so I'm actually a local fella. I'm from Lexington, North Carolina.
Okay.
Actually between Lexington and Salisbury, where the Yadkin runs.
Right.
That's where I'm from, where Bill's truck stop is.
Yeah, either way, barbecue country.
That's right, exactly.
Right.
And so I'm from there, and yeah, I went to Wake for undergrad and med school. I had the good fortune to be born both poor and bright, so I got good scholarships to go to Wake. They took care of me.
Other people in your family have been in healthcare, or?
So my dad actually worked at Cone Mills back when Cone Mills employed people in any significant amount.
Right.
And the 90s were not good to manufacturing jobs in our region. And so whenever he lost his job in 98, he went back and became a nurse.
Really?
Yeah, at the age of 40 something.
That's great.
Yeah. So
that must have been inspiring to you.
Exactly. It's like, so one, seeing hard work pay off, and then two, my dad, he would never wanted to be in a situation where he couldn't have a job again. And so then it was like, okay, well, that helps inform a young man's career decisions and what you might want to do. So I was always good at sciences. I liked helping people, and then seeing my dad go in the healthcare field, that helped make that decision.
I think that's just great. That's just great. Now, I'm going to be ignorant for a second, which for me isn't hard to do. But when you sent me an email and the title, I looked at it and said hospitalist. What does that mean? Yeah,
so back in the older days, you'd have your regular doctor, and then you'd get sick with pneumonia, and then your regular doctor would be the one who'd admit you. That was how the old model used to work.
Right.
Well, your regular doctor's very good, but nobody can be in two places at once, right? And so then basically through the 90s, you saw the rise of hospitalist medicine, where you've got dedicated doctors for the hospitals and dedicated doctors for the outpatient.
I'm with you.
Instead of doing two things poorly, you do each thing well.
Okay.
And so it really sets everybody up for success. Hospitalists get patients generally out of the hospital faster. They get them the right antibiotics in the right kind of time frame.
Right.
They recognize acuity faster. Outpatient doctors do a very good job of getting people on outpatient meds.
Absolutely. Now, let's get toward the summer thing here. And I want to get to heat stroke in just a second, because I'm assuming you see a lot of that in the summer. But what are some common things you see happening to people, either in injuries or illnesses for summer months?
It really kind of depends on demographic, right? So younger people that work in farming, the classic thing is farm trauma. People getting injured, starting up the tractor, spraying, things breaking, hydraulic lines busting.
Right.
Those generally, as a hospitalist, I'm a medicine doctor who works in the hospital. I don't manage trauma cases, but you do certainly see more of them in planting season and whatnot.
Right.
Then, your classic summer injuries, sports, you see that later in the summer when sports camps start, that kind of thing. We see all of it. And believe it or not, you see a lot of the same stuff you'd see in the wintertime too. Asthma attacks,
Right.
pneumonia, those kind of things.
Well, what are the signs and symptoms of heat stroke?
So heat stroke in general, I'd like to characterize kind of heat exhaustion and heat stroke.
All right.
Two kind of conditions that go together, the difference being severity. So the body has means of cooling itself, right? And sweat, right? And then feeling hot and wanting to move to the shade. That's your body saying, hey, buddy, you're getting too hot, let's cool off.
Right.
So basically, you have heat exhaustion and heat stroke, finally. It's kind of like the ultimate condition.
Right.
Once those mechanisms have failed. So, for example, if I'm out digging a ditch and I get hot, I start sweating, okay, I'm getting hot. Well, I run out of water. I keep digging that ditch, it's 95 degrees, it's now noon, the sun's beating down. Well, eventually you'll get so hot, you don't sweat. You stop sweating because you've run out of water to sweat with.
Right, right.
You'll start getting headaches, nausea, feeling weak, and that's when you're really in heat exhaustion.
So the key to everything then, because we're almost out of time, the key then is to keep hydrated, right?
Hydrating, take breaks. It's kind of how good you cool is a relation of a couple factors: the intensity of the sun, how hot it is and how humid it is. The more humid, the less you sweat. The brighter the sun, the more energy is getting dumped on you.
Right.
So kind of taking all those factors in, brakes are your friend, water is your friend.
All right, that's good advice. I want to get you back sometime. There's a million things we can talk about. Up on screen, though, choosenorthern.org is a general website, choosenorthern.org. I please hope you will check that out. Doc, will you come back sometime?
Oh yeah, it's fun.
And bring me some barbecue.
That's right.
We'll be right back after this.